What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host. I am T, and this is T's Good Times Garage. We're done with racing for the year, unfortunately. So we've been in somewhat of a winterizing mode, trying to figure out what's next. I wish that one was next. But the plotting, the planning, wish there was more plotting, planning there. Really want to get some focus there. But the dart needs some help. We actually have a bench that you can see space. I've been going through parts, free 83 things, piggy bank horsepower. We need to get back on that. And then this pile, the old rod knocker. We got to take that apart and find out exactly how jacked up it is. It still ran, you remember. We're going to be tearing this one down soon. Just not today. But first, we got to talk about this. The topic at hand starts right here. I have bad news. I found something out that I'm not happy about. In fact, it makes me sad. I am today years old when I found out that this transmission, you see just a case here, it is empty. This is the transmission that came out of my 1968 Dodge Charger when I purchased it. Don't get me wrong, in 68, I don't believe there was a VIN anywhere stamped on this transmission. That said, these 4 digits kicked me right in the jimmy. I know this transmission is not even period correct. I'm sad. So yes, I do not have an original period correct transmission in my Charger. So now I'm worried about everything else. I've checked the numbers on the engine before. If memory serves, original, right? So we are going to do that again. We're going to confirm that. We're going to look at the numbers on the car. We do have to go to where the Charger currently sits in storage. Look at all those numbers. So we're going to do that. But first, let's talk about this stuff. What makes this transmission obviously incorrect for a 1968 Dodge Charger? It starts right there. This is the 4-digit number that translates to the 10,000 day calendar. 4716 is my date code for this transmission. That translates to, drum roll please, June 26, 1974. Years later, this transmission was built. Could not have been original to that car in any shape or form. We'd be looking for a date somewhere leading up to the vicinity of the build date of my Charger, which we'll be talking about as well. This number here is a casting number, 3681864. That translates to 1974-1975. According to the information I found, exclusively 400s. Yay. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means anything at all. Definitely not the original transmission to my Charger. And this, I was able to use a little blue Sharpie to just lightly draw over the top of things, not digging into the casting or the stamping as much as possible. Helped read the numbers a lot. Let's go look at the engine. This is a 1968 383. We know that from the casting. And this will be interesting. Give you kind of an idea of the proximity of engine castings to going in cars. This casting date was February 5th, 1968. That was definitely before the scheduled build date of my car. We'll talk about that as well. This one was fresh. Let's just say I had an issue with piston to valve clearance. One of these days we will get this thing all cleaned back up. And that transmission, original or not, it's going back in the car when we get things ready to restore. In 68, you may know that you'll find a VIN number stamped on this rail here where the transmission meets the block. This stamping should match the VIN number of your car. I can barely read this first, whatever. I can't read it, let's just say that. That said, knowing the VIN of my car, I know this is a match. The 383 matches the Charger. The block was cast just a couple of weeks before the car was scheduled to be produced. We do have to go to where the Charger currently sits in storage. Look at all those numbers. So we're going to do that. Well, here we are again, visiting the Ratty 68. And she's starting to turn into a barn find. To sum it up for you, you might recall, we found the Moho Motivator, which is what I call this 440. That came out of a late 70s Dodge model motorhome. Well, it had some bad lifters, but we are here to do some documentation, checking the numbers, confirming my 1968 Dodge Charger is everything it claims to be. I bought this car when I was a teenager, towards the end of my teens. I was 18, I think. Numbers matching 1968 Dodge Charger, 383 big block automatic car. Come to find out, transmission, not so much. I don't have any reason to suspect the car is not what it claims to be, but I think I wanted to take this opportunity and learn a little bit for myself and maybe help you with your cars as well. Let's start with the VIN. XP29H8B, and then you see some numbers start there. The X indicates Charger, the P is the price class, and that stands for premium. We'll talk more about that in a minute when we look at the fender tag. The 29 is the body style, the type. In this case, 29 indicates two-door sports hardtop, mind you. The H is the engine code, 383 4-barrel V8, the 330 horse. So this car, a real big block HP car. The 8, the model year, 68, how about that? And the B is the manufacturer plant, Hamtramck, Michigan, and then into the sequential build number. That's a 6-digit number. Probably a little difficult to read the VIN tag in the camera, so I'll try and help you out. On this row up here, there's a sequence of lowercase alphabet, and under the A we have a 5. That is the code for center front seat with armrest. So basically it's that little, it's a third seat technically, but it folds down to an armrest. Take a look. Hey, third seat. Still in place, still functional. Don't notice the non-original seat covers. I still have the ones that came out of the car. They're just in really bad shape. These are actually Roadrunner. 68 also, I do believe. And that's both of my buckets and my back bench. Once I can afford the cost of recovering those, we'll do the original ones back right. Make note of the front buckets as well, because that happens to be our next code under the lowercase b, a 4, which is the code for a bucket seats. Moving on down the alphabet, we get to H, and that appears to be a 7, which translates to the hood turn signals, which would go here. There's the view from under hood. Mine don't function. We've got some work to do over time as we move towards restoration. Moving down the list again, the letter M, the number 6, remote mirrors. And I should clarify, driver side remote mirror. Hello. And it does function. And further down the alphabet, just for information's sake, the letter K, there's an optional passenger mirror as well, which I do think I want to add to this car. With that, we can move down a row to the uppercase alphabet. There appears to be something in the C and D area, but in that area, and I can't remember if it was C or if it was D or what the case, but there's a code for a front sway bar, which this car did have. You know, everything lines up that it was original to the car. I do believe that to be correct, that it was an original front sway bar car. Moving on down, we find the letter H and a number 1 there. That is the code for power brakes. Hello, power brake booster. Down to the letter R, we have the number 1. And so this is the spot for the radio code. This car, according to the fender tag, was served up with an AM Music Master. It was not in the car when I bought it. I do have one. I picked one up along the way, just an AM deck. I'm not sure if that would be the correct one for that code. If you have a number 8, that would be awesome for you because that's AM and FM. Can't remember the code for 8-track, but I believe with 8-track it was AM and 8-track. I didn't seem to be able to find a code for AM, FM, and 8-track altogether. How cool would that have been, though? We're under the letter X, and we find a 2. That is tinted front windshield. Whoever ordered this car opted for the front windshield, number 2 under the X. Next row down, we have numeric values mixed with some other alphabet. Number 2 and number 3 are marked on this tag. Under number 2, we have a 5, which indicates the drip rail molding. This car does have a pretty nice set, and they'll probably remain mostly that way. Some blemishes, obviously. Until I decide to take them off and restore the car. Then I'll probably ruin them. That would be fun. So when I do that, I'm going to call on you professionals to help me with that. We're not close to doing that, so don't worry. Under number 3, we have a 0. And what I found for that was body belt molding. I don't know what that is. I want to do a little more research on it. So far, I haven't been able to figure it out. If you know what that one is, body belt molding, let me know. Leave a comment. But we can move on down to number 7, which has an 8 under it. That is the wheel lip molding. This car had wheel lip moldings on it. That would be the trim piece that goes along the wheel well there. And as it turns out, I do have them. They've been off the car for a long time. Moving on down the line, we have AX, which is your axle package. I have a number 4, which means I got the 323 non-sure grip. They left that blank when it was a non-sure grip car. Moving along to trim, TRM. The T is the car, which in this case C, charger. The R, I have a number 6, which indicates vinyl bucket seats. Remember those? And the M, the interior color. X is for black. Next down the line, PNT, we have the paint code. The P is the roof color, N is the body color, and the T would indicate a mono or a two-tone. In this case, we have SS1, which means the roof and the body of this car are in fact yellow. And since I have a 1 on the fender tag, not a two-tone paint. A single color. I'll show you some examples of the yellow. We have yellow here. We can get back to the trunk where it's a really good example. Well, just kidding. I mean, it looks good to me. It doesn't look as colorful in the camera for some reason. Sorry about that. Hard to see, but the last bit on this row is UBS. This basically, I think, has to do with a stripe package on the car. I have the number 8 under the U. Should indicate a stripe delete. No stripe. Moving down to the bottom row, this echoes a lot of information you might already know at this point about the car. XP29, the first 4 number digits. Charger, price class, and the body type. So, Charger, premium, 2-door sports hardtop. And the premium price class for Dodge, it was the Charger, the Dart GT, and the Coronet 500. Moving on down, 62. This is your engine code. 62 indicates 383 4-barrel HP, the 330 horse option. Moving down, the 5 is the transmission indicator. 5 stands for 3-speed automatic. Being a big block car, you know that's a 727 torque flight. Now, I always thought that this next code was 33. I mean, you could make a case for it. But I researched and researched. I couldn't find anything for 33. As far as I know, this is the tire option on your vehicle. 33, like I said, I could not find anything. The closest thing I could find, there was a 38 option, which was an E70 by 14 steel-belted redline tire. This thing had 14s on it when I got it. It was a hubcap car. Kind of curious about that as well. I don't think there's any indicator here, but I do have the build sheet for this car as well. So we're going to discuss that one later. Moving on down the row here, 223. This is your scheduled production date. The first digit is the month, and I think the end of the previous year was, being the start of the next model year was an alpha code, ABC, right? Starting in October, A, B, C, October, November, December, and then the beginning of the year started with a digit. 1 being January, 2 being February, and the 23rd. So this car was scheduled to be built on February 23rd of 1968. And then the last numbers, this is actually the sales order number. This number should match some other things on the car to help you know that your tag belongs to the car and vice versa. We'll take a quick look at those as well. So you see this one ending in 878. In the radiator support, you'll find this number as well. This will not be a VIN, so in 68, the VIN did not make it onto the body of the car other than the VIN tag. 878, the ending of that one. And it seems that some 68 cars did not get stamped in the trunk. I had to tear apart the mint, absolutely perfect weather stripping to get down there to the number. And lo and behold, yes, we have a number. We have the sales order number stamped into the car. Same number you saw up front, ending in 878. We appear to have a correct, unmolested body of a 1968 Dodge Charger. Let me be honest. This speedometer has never worked since I've owned this car. I've had it, like I said, since the mid-90s. And the odometer reading 19,271 and almost 4/10. Highly unlikely that this is a 19,000 mile original car. But I found something interesting in the glove box a while back that I just wanted to show you. This is more just for fun. I don't know how many cars would have this tag, but it's basically a warranty validation. Do not remove from vehicle, or they'll kill you or something. There's some cool little facts, some dates, some information here that, one, help me to know about when this car started its life on the roads. We have an original delivery date of 4/18 of 1968. I don't know where it originally started life, what dealership, where it was sold. I think that number, anybody know anything about dealer code numbers from the 60s? 56189, I do believe that is. That may tell me where this car was originally sold. That would be pretty cool. The validation date of the warranty happened a little later, either November 13th or November 23rd of 1969. But this is the interesting part. At that point in 1969, when they claimed to have validated this car for warranty, we have mileage 23,528. So in a year and a half, this car already had 23,528 miles on it. I don't know if that was commonplace, but that's a lot of mileage, I think, in 68, 69 in a year and a half. Maybe, maybe not. But this car saw some miles, it saw some roads. So for now, my friends, that's that on the 68 Charger. It is what it is, what it is. The 1968 Dodge Charger, 383 HP, 4-barrel, 330 horse, 3-speed automatic, 727 torque flight, 8 3/4 with a 323 geared non-sure grip. Isn't that a beautiful thing? How many of you have a build sheet that looks this pretty? And not to say it isn't fragile and having imperfections. It obviously spent time behind the back seat. The gentleman I bought the car from back in 1994 had already removed this from the car and put it in a nice one of these clear plastic sheets. But I was really shocked, honestly, and I still am to this day at how good this build sheet actually is. So it will always stay protected. But there's things on this build sheet that match it to the car, the fender tag. The shipping order number is the number you'll find on the radiator support. Also might find that in the trunk. We've seen that already at this point. And the VIN number, also on the build sheet. So basically, Build sheet, fender tag, car, all add up to make the perfect combination of paperwork. So I am so happy to have this. And, you know, the car is something that I never plan on selling. I've had the car just about 30 years. And shame on me for not, you know, getting further along with the project. I do feel ashamed. But we've had fun with the car, so I can't complain about that. It's had different engines in it. We've drag raced it. We've street driven it. It's getting ready to be street driven again once we fix the camshaft situation. We're not going to dive too deep on this build sheet just because there's some things that I haven't really had a chance to research. Vacuum fittings, sway bar, trans code, engine code, axle code, pinion, what wheels, wheel covers, torsion bars, rear spring, clutch and brake bracket, carb, choke, carburetor, the radiator, outlet, hose, inlet, a fan spacer, engine fan, stub frame, steering wheel, horn ring, steering column, battery, floor mats or carpet, glove box lock, a map and courtesy light, heck yeah there is, an ignition lamp with time delay, glove box, ash receiver, you may know that as an ashtray. Car is equipped with one, but somewhere along the line the ashtray disappeared. I do not have one. Looking for one. Anybody's got an ashtray in black, I'd love to get a hold of that. Trunk, not sure what that code would even... Yes, it has a yes, it has a trunk. Okay, perfect. Also, the turn indicators on the hood. Some of these things, they're a mystery to me. But we're learning. We'll continue to learn more about things as we go along. Body side belt, the seat belts in this car, there was a side belt. Also something I need to find, you know, bits and pieces that I do not have seat belts for this car. So yeah, we'll be looking to complete the seat belt set. Same thing, guys. Anybody got some seat belts in black? You'll see a lot of blanks. Export items, optional compression ratio. That's an interesting code. Yes, I'd like some optional compression ratio, please. Thank you. Oversized manual antenna, right-hand drive. That's an obvious export item. So some really interesting things about the build sheet. I hope you have the build sheet to your car. You're still going to enjoy the heck out of your car, and that's definitely what we plan on doing with this 1968 Dodge Charger. All that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this look at the numbers. There's a lot of stuff that I had no idea of, and just looking through the fender tag, the codes, the build sheet, reminded me of a few things, learned me of a few things, and really just helps to tell the story of this car. The only way I could get more of the story would be to find all of the previous owners. Who owned this car? What did they do with it? Did they have fun? Did they enjoy it? Was it good? Was it good for them? In any case, guys, we'll get back to working on this car pretty soon, I hope. In this mystery box, there is a 375 horse Magnum 440 original camshaft. We got to get some lifters to match that so we can install that. It's not a comp cam. Don't worry. Don't worry. But thanks to Dude Mopar. If you guys aren't watching his channel, he's a great dude, and he hooked me up. Good bracket racer. We had some fun racing at the No Name Nationals. All around good guy. Check out his channel. That's Dude Mopar. Thanks for watching, guys. Stick around for all the fun, the hijinks, the project work. Hopefully some successful project work and progress. If you like this video, click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, please give that some consideration. I'd love to have you on board. And thanks to everybody that already is subscribed. I appreciate it. You're all awesome. Thank you very much for watching. And we'll catch you on the next one.